Come on.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for yourself.
We are the last
Americans,
We are the last
Americans,
We are last.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hello, everybody.
Oh,
Hello.
What's happening?
Yeah.
Dude, I could hear
Yeah,
that.
I turned it up a little bit. And,
Yeah, he was cranking,
I might have gone a little too far.
and I like it loud.
That was very loud.
I like it loud. I do,
Yeah.
and I was just like,
I just want to come in, rock it.
man,
I just want to rock out with my, you know.
yeah, yeah. Fucking stupid.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say your cock out.
I know. I was hoping
Well,
you
it's
would
the
just
beginning part of like the
True that.
stream, and I just
Yeah.
want to like
gotta follow those
gotta
rules.
ease into it. I'll say
Yeah.
cock later.
Well, so we got to like address the elephant in the room here. So Chris did a little semi stream. We tried to do it unlisted, but I think it was not unlisted. I think it was like live and people were joining in. They're going like, "Wait, what's going on here?" But we were trying to test out this like audio thing, right?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So like we're trying to like get this audio, because when we play clips on the show, everybody's leaving comments saying like, "Hey guys, we can't hear this stuff." And like we are well aware. We tried to fix this right before the show, so hopefully it frickin' works.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You know, we do what we can, right? Like you guys tried, and
I don't understand why if I made a video unlisted that
people just
now people were just joining it. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't get it, dude. I don't know.
they just
I don't know
they're
how it
like,
works.
What's this
I don't
shit?
know. That's
This is unlisted shit.
Yeah, it was literally
Yeah.
like a 30-40 second video of just me like,
Some dude's like,
are
man,
you here, Greg?
Yeah, we couldn't hear anything.
Are you there, Greg? It's just my lips moving.
it's
And
like
then I
some
switched to
guy
I
from
switched to a video, and it's just okay.
some guy from Kentucky.
Flex,
just
it's
like, man,
Kahlua
this
and
is-
coffee. This is actually the little snifter. Is that what this is called? Whiskey? Where's
whiskey.
whiskey?
I think it's,
Whiskey gave
I
this.
think that's what it's
Everybody go follow Whiskey Shaman, okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He gave me this, and then also I got the freaking coin. Keep your spirits up.
called.
I know you can't read it because it's all back. Oh wait, no, you
Yeah, you
can't.
can.
You
It's
can.
straight on, man.
Nice. It's not backwards. Okay. cool.
Yeah, we got a couple different coins, man. Yeah, ours are right here. Here's yours.
Yeah, there's my little
Yeah.
snifter.
Hell
There
yeah.
it is, man.
There you are. Yeah, I see this coin every time I come into the studio, so I'm always thinking about whiskey.
The coin I have is the cool one with his beard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
forgot
a-
we all
it's
got
a-
different coins.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
sick coin, dude.
I don't-
I really dig it. I thought it was up here, man, but it might not be.
It's
Up.
awesome.
But no, yeah,
I forget
man.
where
Yeah,
mine
go
was.
follow him if you guys have, man. If you like booze, you know what I'm saying? You like that whiskey.
Yeah,
He's the
yeah.
guy to go to, man. He's very knowledgeable. We've had him on the show.
That was a
obviously.
fun show.
It was a
Mostly
fun show.
That was a very fun show.
Mostly because we're drunk. But
Well, and you know what? Mostly too,
At like
is
8 in the morning, dude.
he's
Yeah, it was
fucking.
fucking
He is
morning drunk.
legitimately like one of the coolest dudes.
He was
is
like
such
a-
a kind, cool human being, man.
yeah, and he's an encyclopedia about that.
Oh
Shit.
I don't know if
That's
he knew
true.
what he had coming to him when he came to our show though. He's like, man, these guys could be weirdos. I don't know.
Oh, that's true.
Well, it wasn't like it was a Diddy party or anything like that.
Oh,
I mean,
jeez.
it wasn't a freak off.
Yeah, it's not like you walked in and there was 1,000 bottles of fucking
Damn.
baby oil.
Yeah, man.
Dude, did you hear about that shit? Like how people are saying that was likely GHB or some sort of like liquid cocaine or liquid acid. Like it was
Yeah.
drugs.
Oh,
not
in-
baby oil. 'Cause,
Inside
like,
the baby oil?
well, yes, because like there was accusations. There's Jonathan Odie, this guy who shot up the Trump whatever hotel a while ago, but he had this interview or like this interrogation, and during the interrogation, he was saying that Diddy used to make liquid cocaine or
Oh.
like liquid drugs and put it in a liquid form and
Oh.
drink it
Oh wow,
to kind of hide it. And
that's some next level shit, right there.
well, yeah, and then
I
if
mean,
you
think
look
about
up,
it.
there was like this viral TikTok of this chick saying like, "Hey, I don't think it was baby oil because like who has just 1,000 bottles of baby oil?" And I get like Diddy's gay as fuck, and he likes.
I was
he
gonna
likes
say
to
a
rub
man who
himself.
fucks thousands of butts has thousands of
Yeah,
bottles.
right.
Yeah, I mean, you could use a whole bottle on one application.
How do you know if he's
you know?
fucked thousands of butts?
I'm assuming.
Dude, I'm pretty sure he's fucked thousands of butts.
Yeah, I would say my assumption is just as valid as the person who said it's liquid cocaine. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, but a guess is a guess, and it's,
I bet it's something else. I bet it's not cocaine.
No, well, so that the speculation was that it was acid. So GHB is a form of acid, and it's a way to drug your people that you want to get to do things. So
In
you're like,
gel
hey, let's
form,
put some
though?
baby oil on you, right?
and
you
like
go,
in baby oil.
I'm
form.
not feeling
Can
very
you-
good.
Can you
Okay.
get the effects of acid just as a topical?
Through the skin? Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh, sure.
Why
Oh,
not?
really?
Yeah, people
Sure.
drop it in their eye all the time. So it's like,
Yeah.
if it can go through
Drop
your
it
eye,
in their eye?
Yeah, dude.
yes, that's like one of the main forms.
So I don't know anything about drugs.
My only thing I would, just to counter it, I guess, would be I would imagine that the police or the FBI who was there saw a bunch of lube and was like, we should probably test this. I'm sure they just didn't look at a bunch of clear bottles and be like, it's definitely lube. Like somebody would
But think
put it on
about
their
it, though.
hands. What?
Think about it, because if it's an open case, they're not going to come out and tell you it was drugs.
That's true.
They're
That's
gonna
true.
say, we found these bottles that say baby oil on them. That's all we're gonna tell you. Because if it's like a shitload of drugs like that, they want to keep this shut so that way they can trace it back and be like, where the fuck did he get all this shit, dude? Because that's a lot.
I mean, yeah, but when they have like drug busts, they say like, here's 1,000 pounds of cocaine. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that like they still don't trace it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like with drugs, I just from looking at like police video of drug busts,
Mhm.
like they're definitely not shy about showing off that they found that many drugs, and that would only help their case more if they were like, we just found a bunch of baby lube that's filled with fucking acid. This is how fucked this guy is. You know what I'm saying? Everybody would be like,
True.
holy shit, bro.
True,
He's
but if
fucked.
you're using it as evidence of how he lured and made people vulnerable, would you still
Sure.
release it as a drug bust?
Yeah, why not? I don't think that takes away from like what he did. You know,
don't
what I'm
think
saying?
so?
No, I don't think it hinders the courts or anything. No,
Mm.
I mean, am I wrong?
I don't know. I just think the headline would be drug bust and not what he's actually going down for.
Well, I mean, listen, I think what he's going down for, just like Epstein, I think that juice is on its way.
Oh yeah.
But like, you have to build. I think in courts in general, don't you want to build society to believe a certain thing, right? So by coming out with all this and let's say it was acid, right, or some kind of a laced baby oil for that.
Mhm.
By them coming out and saying it, it would make society as a whole gasp of like, because it's all funny when you're talking about butt fucking. Like, oh my God, he has all this lube. Everybody's making memes and there's butt fuck. But if you were like, these are actually laced lube.
Yeah.
He was squirting this on his dick, putting it in a butt. That person with the butt, they were getting high, and they couldn't.
Well, they're probably doing it beforehand.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And- Imagine
He's
that.
probably rubbing it on people like
Well-
just to get them in the
Yeah,
vulnerable state.
And kids. Like I think that one guy, that press conference came out saying that there was
6.
120 new people coming forward, and some of the youngest was like 9 and
Yeah.
13.
Yeah, there's a 9-year-old.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't put much stock in that right now.
No?
No, I don't, because I feel like anytime somebody comes out with a case, you're gonna get flooded with people that are gonna try to. I'm not saying they're not all. I'm not saying they're not real. I'm just saying
It's like Kevin Spacey, right?
people are going to want to
Yeah.
capitalize
True,
on this.
but
But it doesn't mean that he didn't do it. Because
It
like
does
Kevin
not mean he
Spacey,
didn't do
I
it.
think that he fucking did it, dude. I think he's like a pedo and like
Yeah.
he touches kids and
But
boys.
see, I don't believe Michael Jackson did what he did. I don't personally believe that. I never have.
That's true,
And-
dude.
and-
I'm
and
kind
you-
of more in that ballpark now.
I don't believe.
Yeah.
it.
I'm
I
leaning
really,
towards
I really
they're
don't.
like setting up Michael Jackson. Yeah.
That's not really the argument. My point is when that came out about Michael Jackson, every parent who's ever had a kid over there that saw the opportunity.
it depends how it went down. If this news hit and then all of a sudden now people are like contacting them, then yeah, you might want to have to do a lot more due diligence on who's saying what. But if once they raided all his places, and
Yeah.
if they have photographs and video of people, which they say they do,
Was
and then
certain-
they
Well, Kim Porter-
and then they approach those people and say, "Hey, we need like your comment or your fucking testimony on this." That's a
Yeah.
different thing.
That's different than them calling though.
True.
Yeah, so Kim Porter wrote a whole book about it, dude.
Yeah.
And like she was basically accusing Diddy of all these things that came out in his indictment. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the whole case with Cassie Ventura. Because remember when that video came out about like this woman running down the hall and Diddy comes out and slaps her? She's
Yeah.
trying to get in the
Yeah, yeah.
elevator,
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
like fucking, he's
Yeah.
beating the shit out of this woman.
Yeah, dragging her by her hair, man.
That was her.
Yeah.
And that video was shown in court, kind of like corroborating her story that, yeah, he was abusive because, like, she was like his sex slave. That's what, you know, it came out in the court documents. And,
Oh, yeah.
you know, that Jonathan Odie guy said that he was Diddy's sex slave having sex with Cassie and Diddy way back in 2018 before this was even like a thing. You know what I mean?
I just like,
So it's like,
I just don't believe him. I just right now, I'm just being honest.
That
I
guy?
don't believe all these new people that came forward necessarily. And the reason I don't is the Diddy thing is not a secret. It's been talked about for a long time. There's been cases and
but
people,
the power though, like the fear of Diddy, like, you know, taking his action on you and like killing you or your family.
Sure.
That was probably a real deal.
No,
You know
listen,
what I mean?
I'm not saying that that's not true. But what I am saying is you by doing, listen, it's the same thing with, okay, this is going to sound weird, but we've talked about before, but it's valid to me. The problem with a woman who is sexually assaulted, for example,
Mhm.
coming out 10 years later, it's not that it didn't happen. It's that you waited so long that you bring doubt. You know what I'm saying? Especially when they come out, when something happens to that person, they come out and try to get onto that train. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying that person wasn't evil and did bad things, but by you doing that, it just leaves a shred of doubt. And so when you have these cases like this and they all kind of come as he gets arrested or as this thing's happen, it's just like, okay, but other people came out and talked.
About it on like one of his
Shannon Sharp show.
freaking like stand-up comedies. Like Cat Williams was up there sweating, like in that comedy special where he had like that big like suede suit on.
Yeah,
He was like dripping sweat, and he's talking about like the backroom Diddy parties and all that stuff. I'm like, dude,
but it's not
something's
just that.
going on here.
It's like, you know, with whatever Charlemagne the God's podcast and shit, people on there, they always make 50 Cent's been talking about it. Like, I don't believe they're involved. I think they just know that that you just don't do that shit. You don't go to his parties. It's not.
Well, like people knew about Epstein too.
Exactly, but like,
you know what I mean.
But see, like the ones that knew, like how many people? No one talked about it. Like rarely did you see people talking about Epstein Island and shit that was going on. Like you didn't have.
Well, I think the people
Cat Williams or 50 Cent.
I think the 50 Cent and the Cat Williams type people that are talking about it are probably the ones not involved in it.
Oh no,
but they
I know.
But the people that are involved are the ones that aren't talking. Or like I think it was it Ashton Kutcher just said warn people online about fake statements or something coming out about that Diddy's gonna say and all this stuff. Like, why would you say that all of a sudden?
Yeah, he's guilty. That's why.
I don't know.
Yeah, that guy's
I don't know, but
well,
I guarantee there's a lot
the
more
thing
people
that's
involved in
different.
this.
Yeah, the thing that's different about like other accusations and stuff is like when you think of Brett Kavanaugh or Donald Trump, they're running for positions of power and it's like a political play and it's a political move. But like with this, it's more of, can I even talk about this without having me or my family get hurt?
But what?
And that's one thing that I think that definitely, when you see the power of Diddy, I mean, he was handed the keys of New York. You know what I mean? Like that kind of power play where this guy can get away with anything he fucking wants to do. Where the cops are doing things for him. His private security, like he just has people who will do things for him and keep people in captivity, like that whole Cassie thing.
Yeah.
Like she tried to get out numerous times, but she couldn't leave.
So who died?
Who died?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Tupac, Biggie. What do you?
No, I'm not talking about Tupac and Biggie. I mean, we know that. I'm saying like any person that's talked about has died. Like, is there any evidence of anybody that's come out and said that Diddy did something and they died? That's what I'm asking.
No.
Like the Diddy body count?
Yeah. Is that?
Well, you're gonna have to pay attention to Strange Sauna Part 2. That's coming out in a couple weeks.
So there are people supposedly, like legitimate victims that have died, or
supposedly.
Okay, that's fair. You know,
I don't know.
What I'm saying is like it takes good people who were in bad situations to bring these things to light, right? So with Epstein, you had multiple women and victims who stepped forward and put themselves out there in order to get everything rolling in some aspects. And like, you have to have that. So when you look at like 50 Cent and these guys who, when that is brought up in past podcasts and they're like, man, you don't do that. Like, yeah, I know everybody knows you don't go to a Diddy party. Like those are them kind of giving you the hints. Like they're obviously not coming out. Now Cat did come out and kind of just straight up said like all the shit, but where are the victims? That's what I'm upset by a little bit. It's like, where are the people that got screwed over, got literally, you know what I'm saying?
Well, dude, that's 120 people just came forward. So it's like, we have to parse through all of that to weed out the bullshit, like you're saying.
But that's now. That's when he's arrested. I'm talking about the past couple of years. The past couple of years when everybody knew that it was happening.
Or past decades.
The past decade, the 2 decades. Like all this time.
Dude, what I think it is, it's the Harvey Weinstein. It's the blackmail, but it's also, if you want your record to come out and you want me to produce it, which, I mean, it's guaranteed to get on the 100 billboards, right? Then you got to fucking bend over and let me fuck you in the ass.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing with. It's probably the exact same thing as fucking Epstein. It's the nasty shit just to get off on nasty shit, but it's also blackmail. It's also bribery. It's also all this.
I have to believe that a guy that's so sex hungry, right? Like, which just seems to be all counts. The guy was absolute like sex addict and was into this freaky, crazy shit. Like, there are definitely people that were raped or molested or drugged that were not musicians, that were just people. Like people that went to a party with somebody that wasn't famous. Like no one came out and said like, yeah, actually Puff Daddy raped me. You know what I'm saying? And like, we never heard any of that. We heard that with Epstein. We heard these women that we've never heard of say, I fuck Bill Clinton or the Prince, Prince Andrews, and you're like, what? And you're like, really? Like, okay.
Yeah, but that was it was the same thing. That most of that shit started coming out after Epstein was arrested.
No, they came out a long time ago before that.
Very sparsely.
When he was let go
so
in
that's
Florida.
The thing, though, Dave. Like, if you got what you wanted and you got fame, you got money, would you come forward and complain about it?
But like, you just missed. I know, but you just missed what I said. I said there are people that have been probably raped by him that didn't get fame and money. Like, he didn't just fuck musicians and up and coming stars, dude. Like, he's probably fucked a lot of people and like Bill Cosby. He didn't just fuck famous people. Like, it was some random woman came over to a party and he's like, I feel like fucking her and I'm gonna drug her up, dude. Like, I guarantee he did that.
Oh yeah.
I guarantee he was doing that to regular people that were just at his party.
It's got to be fear of the power. I mean, what else would it be? I mean, like, you would be afraid to come forward and say anything, dude.
Yeah, I'm definitely not denying that, Greg. I think you're 100% right. That is what it is. It's just sad because this could have been prevented a long time. Now, if you're talking about, let's say it's real, a 6-year-old or a 9-year-old, arguably, very young, when that, isn't that pretty shitty that somebody that 15 years ago didn't say something that allowed him to stay in the limelight and do this to a 6-year-old or a 9-year-old?
I know, dude.
That's the
thing, dude. Like, it's dirty fucking people all around. That's why I think they're all complicit. Or Whitney was saying that there was 3,000 people that came forward and they dwindled it down to 110, 120.
Well, that proves the fact, though, that a little bit that you
a lot
get
of
a
it's
rush of people that want to have their name in the basket, but 110 people is still too damn many. I mean, I'm not denying that, and we don't even know if those 110 are actually, those are just, they've been dwindled down to such.
I heard one of them's Mike Tyson. No, we saw it on that the couch, the hand on the knee.
Dude, you ain't doing anything to Mike Tyson, man. He's doing, if anything, he's doing it to you.
I'll rip that dick off.
You better get that dick away from me right now.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think Puffy would have cared. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't.
Sounds like he not only gave but received. You know what I mean?
I don't think. No, I don't think Tyson would even come close.
He's like, I'm an animal. I'm an animal, man. Just kidding.
I'll make you roar, bitch.
Yeah. I'm seeing red. You know what I'm saying?
I'm seeing red.
My spine. Spinal.
Yeah,
boner.
I broke my back.
I broke my boners. You know what I'm saying? Listen, man. I think what's gonna come is the stuff that I'm interested in. Right now, it's juicy. Yeah, it's juicy. I think we knew that this was, we already know, and I think a lot of people understand that there's weird shit going on, and this is that's what he did.
Dang,
when he took
that's loud. That's good. Those that's the increased volume right there. I like
stuff that. I'm excited for is when the prosecutor or whatever came out and said that they have names and they have to
Yeah.
file these charges. And once they file them, they will release the names, and their names that will shock us. Now, we've heard that before, right? Like, oh, it's
Yeah.
going to shock you. But this is a prosecutor talking about it. And to be fair, in his group of people, there are names that would be shocking, right? Not necessarily shocking to the people that already know, but like to the world,
To the general public.
hypothetically.
Yeah, and they said it was like tied to like big pharma, some executives,
Sure.
like people like you'd be shocked to know.
I don't think people
I'm
care
like,
about that. I got to be honest with you. I don't think people care about the
big pharma
big
people.
pharma execs. You know, I think they already think that they're scummy. But what's going to blow people's minds is, and I'm not saying they're guilty. I'm just saying, you throw out Beyonce,
You throw out Jay-Z.
you throw out a Jay-Z, like, and actually charge
You
them.
throw out the idols of American pop culture.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
Yeah,
that's
I think
the culture people are going to be. That's where you're going to have people that are, because let's be real, most people don't care about much, but like they do like their celebrities, they
Taylor
do like their
Swift.
musicians. Yeah, but can you imagine what would happen if Taylor Swift came out? She absolutely is not, I'm sure. But I'm just saying,
what if her name ended
what if
up
her
being
name was?
in
What if
there?
she was indicted for something that had to do with Puff Daddy? People, like, her fan
Yeah.
base would dissolve half and
Do you
half.
think she's been to one of the parties?
I'm not saying. I don't know. I'm sure.
I mean, it'd be hard to find people that haven't, honestly.
No, I'm who knows? Again, maybe people do know. Taylor Swift's evil to me, but I'm just saying that doesn't mean that she goes to the parties. I'll be very real, because I have
She
to,
has her own
I have to
parties?
believe that, like, you had like a friend in high school, or like you knew of a party house or something.
Yeah.
And you just knew, like, man, you don't go to that house. Like, all the druggies are there. Like, that's not the party you want to go to. Like, I'd rather go over to this house. Like, that might be what Diddy was. Like, certain people go, a lot of people go, but certain celebrities are like, nah, I'm cool. I don't
Well,
want
dude, so like that's the thing is like there's all these pictures with celebrities at his parties.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, like his parties were probably pretty fucking fun. Like the normal parties, right?
Well, from till 8
Not
o'clock.
the party after party, like where
Yeah.
everybody's getting naked in the bed with baby oil. I'm not talking about that shit. I'm talking about like just his regular house parties where people are going, whoa, this is pretty fucking cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, and you're right. I mean, listen, I get it, because like I'm sure it was lavish. I'm sure there was great food. I'm sure there was like the lights and the music, and it was like this big club fucking thing, dude. And you know what the shitty part is man, if you would have just been cool and were just fucking people, no one would really care. If you're just like, bro, I was taking down women every fucking night, everybody would be like, damn, that guy, let me tell you, like that's a story. But no, you had to drug him, bro. Like,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
That's a different thing.
Like, you weren't fucking Gene Simmons, dude, just pound down the women. Like, you were drugging them to do so, and drugging men to do so, and blackmailing. Like, that's the thing that weirds me. I was like, man, you had all this money,
and
you
then
had this
drugging men to have them have sex
but the
with
thing
each other.
is, you were so rich.
Yeah.
You were so rich that you could have fucked any. I'm
But
not
that's
saying any, but gay men would have absolutely been.
But
down
that's
for
not
it.
even what it's about.
No, it's about the
It's the
power,
power,
control,
dude.
Yeah.
and that's where it gets fucking weird, And it's like you had to have that power level instead of just, hey man, I party and fuck and I don't give a shit. And
Unless
everybody's
unless it's even further than that, and it wasn't just about some weird power fucking
no, man.
ego thing, and he was actually like in business doing it.
Yeah, man, he was coming pentagrams on the ground and shit.
But
dude.
like if he was making money and that was a business part of what he did.
Sure.
Or if he was a Fed, dude, he might have been working for the intelligence agencies, blackmailing people. That's what I honestly think that was going on here. I don't know. I honestly think that he got off on it and there was this power trip. Yes. But I do believe
they
that
used
he
him.
wasn't the top guy. He was working for somebody doing this shit.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yep. I don't know, man.
One leads to another, leads to another.
Ban says you guys worked with someone that's been to a Diddy party. It's one of the drinking bros, maybe.
Oh,
Maybe Ross went to a Diddy party back then. See, and that's the thing. Here's the same thing.
Probably.
Well, here's the deal. And we said this with Epstein. I think all of us agreed on the Epstein thing. Like, the problem with the list is like that doesn't tell you a lot. Like, everybody knew Epstein.
It tells you, well,
It gives you a starting point.
if they're releasing names, that means they've done something criminal.
In this application.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is when the Epstein case happened and they released, even if they're fake, they're probably fake, but some of the logs, right? There were certain logs that we knew. It wasn't an admission of guilt. Like, people knew Epstein, they knew the island, we knew that there was parties. And we said, we're like, there's a chance that people would have went to the party not knowing and then been like, nah, fuck that shit. Like, that's weird shit. Like, you don't know. It's a normal party until, like Greg said, at Diddy's until 10 o'clock, and half of them leave and the rest fuck. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's not an admission of guilt. But yes, if they come out and they obviously have a file on you, you're guilty. But there's how many people have been to a P. Diddy party? Just standard normal people. Probably a lot,
especially
Probably
in Hollywood and the music industry. Yeah,
just nobodies, no namers, friends of friends. Like, I'm sure there's a lot that went to parties, and I'm sure not every one of them were involved with drugging and raping.
Yeah.
So that's where it's like, you got to be careful. Like, you don't know, you're like who did what, and when they release those names, it's going to be a good indication.
I wonder how long do you think until they do?
It's going to trickle, I think, man.
You think so?
Yeah.
Trickle.
Or is it just going to be like, it's going to be the cone of silence for a couple weeks, a few weeks, and then all of a sudden, huge press conference. Here's the fucking, here's everybody.
Jesus, man.
This is all of them.
Dang, dude. Did you just break a bottle?
He just diddied that table, dude.
This is all, they're all guilty.
They're all guilty.
He just popped a man's asshole with that.
Oh, shit, dude. You got to fucking spit on it first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You put that lube there. Here's Diddy's party right here. Vaseline.
Oh, dang.
Why is that here? I don't know, Chris. Why is that here?
Yeah, I don't know either.
Computer screen, Vaseline. Explain yourself.
Because his brother-in-law left it in that room.
Oh,
while ago.
I share this area with my wife.
Ooh, okay.
No, I'm interested. I think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be really, really bad. I think it could be worse than Epstein in some aspects. I don't know about the political aspects. I think the Epstein
I think it might be political too. I mean,
no, I think there will be some. I don't think we even know. We haven't scratched the surface on Epstein. I think that could be like bigger if it really was to come out completely. You know what I'm saying? Just like,
I don't think it ever will.
It never will. But I'm saying this one is going to be huge. But I think this one's going to have more people. I don't know if they're going to be as significant.
I think this one will act as the eye opener to the general public.
Well, I'm saying if you could have got Clinton's, Bill, I mean, you're talking about presidents, right?
Yeah, I think that this will get this. The public will perceive this as more significant because of Hollywood, because of the stardom.
I agree with you on that.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm
because
saying earlier.
that's what Hollywood is all for.
Culture.
It's like they're putting these people up just to knock them down, dude. Like, and they go, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that I fell for these people and I actually like them. I had posters on my wall of these people." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like to get people outraged over, like, that's what Hollywood's all about, dude. Like, they don't give a shit about Diddy. They don't give a shit about any of these guys. They're all expendable. There's like, hey, you know what? Like, we need something to get eyeballs off of us. Hollywood, please.
Unless Diddy fucking rats out the people that is above him.
I don't even know if he knows people above him, to be honest with you.
Nah, I'm sure he does.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, that's the problem with like conspiracy, though, is that it's never satisfying, right? So you always have to assume or think that somebody's above that person. And even the biggest person, there's somebody above that person, right? There's some shadow. And like at the end of the day, Puff Daddy had millions. I mean, he was the richest for a very long time. You know what I'm saying? As far as musicians in Hollywood, he was the man.
Yeah.
He had businesses. Like, there's no reason to think. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm just saying he had so much power, so much money, so much influence. There was no reason to think that he couldn't have just done this on his own with the help of others, obviously. But he was the kingpin of this particular situation.
I think he didn't start something. I think he got into something.
Well,
that's what I think too.
Yeah, he could have started somewhere else and wanted his own mob. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think he met some people and was like, oh, okay, I went in on this.
Yeah,
and then he went off on his own little fucking franchise.
Yeah, he said, "Butt's good."
Butt's good, dude.
Butt's good.
He's like, man, that's slip and slide.
Yeah.
I can't get away from that.
He's like, I always turned it down, but butt is good. It's a great.
Well, he didn't really make his mark on the whole fame and fortune until after Biggie Smalls died, and that's the whole thing. Is he was implicated in taking out Biggie and Tupac.
Yeah,
there's been.
And then he wrote the song about Biggie, like "I'll Be Missing You." That went to #1 on the Billboards, the first rap song ever to reach #1 on the top 100.
Yeah.
And then he has like this Guinness World Book of Records where he's like the top producer in rap.
Yeah.
I mean, bigger than Dr. Dre, bro. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
How does this happen just within a span of 4 years?
But I'm being honest, man. From the very, very, very beginning, I had his albums, of course, right? Like I think a lot of people had his albums, but from the very beginning, I was just like, man, this guy's a fucking con artist, bro. Like this dude is capitalizing on everybody else. Like he was always under Biggie. Biggie cast a shadow. I mean that literally. Like he's a big boy. You know what I'm saying? And Puffy was always there.
Yeah.
But he was never like, it was never Puffy. It was always Biggie. It was always.
Did you see that meme?
Boys. No.
Because you know how like Biggie has one eye looking left, one eye looking right? And he was like, he didn't have a cock eye. He was just always keeping an eye on Diddy.
That's probably true.
Diddy was sitting down at the mixer and he had one eye staring at him.
Yeah, but that
stuff.
shit, you know, like if you can remember that period of time with MTV and the awards, he had that thing where he brought Faith Hill out. Faith Hill was Notorious B.I.G.'s wife.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this big sob thing and this pity thing, and he had the song that was all about Biggie, and it was a capitalization of the whole thing, man. Like he capitalized on the murder of Biggie Smalls. Now he probably did that murder, or at least had something to do with it.
Wait, Faith Hill, the country singer?
Not Faith Hill. Faith Evans. Was it Faith Evans?
Oh, Faith, because I was like, Faith Hill, the country star was
Tim McGraw's wife. You know,
like,
listen,
what?
What was Faith Evans, right? Will you verify that?
Evans.
Faith Evans. I think was it Faith Evans?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Faith Evans.
So you can imagine, I haven't spoke Faith Evans' name in fucking a decade.
Right?
So Faith Hill
like, well,
just pops right up in the old noggin because yeah, man. Yeah. And so my point is like he got where he was, and then if you remember, he brought in Mace. Right, Mace was his sidekick. Mm-hmm. They did some songs. Mace kind of blew up for a while, and it was always somebody else with him that was good and sounded good, and he would just curtail the whole thing. But even Mace, remember, Mace left the music industry, became like a pastor. Like he runs a church now and shit. I think he just completely abandoned it, and it makes you wonder. Now that you know this, it makes you go back and look at these things. Like, did Mace know something? Was like, man, I need to find God. This is some crazy shit. What happened with Biggie? What happened with Tupac? Now you have to question the whole fucking thing, right? Because those murders have never been justified. Some people said they know who did it now at this point, but you have to question the whole fucking thing. Like, what was he involved with? Was he the real quote unquote gangster of the group? You know, we talk about
was there baby oil at the scene of the crime?
There might have been.
And have you guys seen that Tupac clip where he's like interviewing for like an acting gig? He has hair.
Tupac.
He looks really gay.
Yeah. He's very like soft spoken and stuff. Absolutely, man.
Well, here, so I'm just gonna bookmark it.
He's very flamboyant
in X. Yeah, so this is like historic films or whatever. But he was a teenage actor who went to a prestigious school. He was soft mama boy. Blah blah blah. He didn't grow up as a gangster, but he looks very feminine. He's doing a lot of hand motions. Like there, Candace Owens did a big clip on it, and you can, Candace Owens is whatever she is, but. I'm just saying, like, there is this conspiracy out there that Tupac is an actor who was hired to be the rapper, and he wasn't really like a thug.
See, I yeah. Go ahead.
Let's play this real quick.
I don't think he's gay. I never thought he was gay. I watched this. I watched this dozens and dozens.
He looks very young, like a young teenager right there.
Yeah.
The
thing is like I listen.
You got to listen to the rest of the clip. We don't have to right here, but I'm just saying other people.
God, they fucking. They're saying no sound again.
Yeah, no sound.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I have. I don't know that he was that gangster kid. You know what I'm saying? I think all kids at some point aren't gangsters. You know what I mean? And he obviously went to a decent school. He was in Digital Underground as a backup, like a dancer, rapper guy, which Digital Underground was not some gangster rap group, bro, at all. And so, like,
I was going to say his teeth are way too straight and nice to be a gangster.
You know what I mean? Man.
Like, you need some like gold teeth here and there.
I'm not buying the actor shit. I'm not buying any of that. So, like, I watched this documentary the other day that like really like not changed my opinion, but there's this group that this musical group, and they're very fucking weird. They have a lot of crazy imagery. It's pretty gnarly shit. And they had some accusations about 6 months ago. Their adopted fostered son came out and said that they were like satanic and that they abused him and they didn't feed him and they all this shit, like some crazy shit. People were like, fuck these guys, blah, blah, blah. Well, they put out this documentary, which was like a fucking insanely cool documentary, man. Like whoever shot it, it was so fun to watch. Like it was a really interesting thing, but it's D Antwoord. Okay. It's the band. It's like a dance group from South Africa. And what I thought was interesting is that, and it kind of talks upon what you're talking about right now. So they were this couple. They met each other, and they were, they had a 1-bedroom apartment. They had all these family videos. They were poor as fuck, and they both made music, but it was like pretty shitty, and they came together, and she has this weird voice, and he was trying to rap, and they got together and they decided to make this group. But and they did make a group, but it went nowhere. Okay. So in South Africa, they have this slang term for white people that are like kind of gangster, or like this thing is called Zeph. Okay. So being Zeph was like, you see these like white dudes with these crazy haircuts and they have tattoos on their face and shit. It's called like looking Zeph. So there's this situation where Ninja, who's the guy, right? That's his name, Ninja. He was talking about his wife, and she made a comment about a guy sitting in the back of a truck. And she's like, man, that guy's so Zeph. And he's like, man, I felt like really insecure about this. I thought she was like, thought he was hot. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, so I decided I'm going to be Zeph because my wife clearly likes that. Right. So he went and fucking cut his hair, tattooed his whole body, did all this shit. Right. Did all these things and got super Zeph. And then he's like, why don't we start like a Zeph rap group? There's no Zeph rap group. So she started cutting her hair. They fucking blew up, dude. Blew the fuck up. And like you watch this shit and you're like, man, these people are crazy. But you also realize, no, they were opportunistic. They saw this like weird fringe kind of a thing and they changed their life to be that. And they are that to this day in some sense. So it's not weird to me to see a person like Tupac, right? Who's maybe like in Digital Underground as a backup. And he's like, man, I want to be bigger than this. And he creates a persona. Like that's not acting. That's you being opportunistic. Is it right? I'm not saying it's right either. I feel like you should be genuine, but maybe I used to wear.
So it's fake though. I mean,
well, is it?
Well,
though?
I mean, who isn't fake in that?
I mean,
industry?
Look what you wear, right? Look what I wear. Look what I wore in high school. Like you have phases and you try something and you're all of a sudden, Chris just wears fucking Dickies and shirts, right? But like,
but I'm talking about like people who actually mean something to the society and like setting the trend. I mean, there's that whole theory that just rap was just like this whole setup to infiltrate the black community. You know what I mean? Turn them against cops, all this kind of stuff. Like it's like to infiltrate the black community, make it a negative kind of experience. And I'm like, the music was good, but the message was bad, right? Fuck the police, all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then the whole like police brutality, like it was bad on both sides. Like you have like the Freemasons infiltrating. There's a bunch of different shit going on.
I think all music and I think they're all fake. I don't think any of them are the way they actually make themselves perceived to be.
For sure. It's like Taylor Swift. You can't tell me like she's that popular because her music's really good.
No, she's not good.
Like, why is she at the top of the charts, bro? It's like her music is not that good, but she's winning all these awards. It just doesn't make sense.
The only one that is probably exactly what he looks like he is probably Marilyn Manson. He actually inside his house, he lives like his music.
But see, the problem is there's like, here's the thing. And it gets really weird and touching. It's actually an interesting conversation. I actually enjoy this kind of going this direction a little bit because, like, first of all, that's assuming that people don't have you can change your style. Like people do all the time. Like you try something new and all of a sudden that becomes what you wear all the time, right? Yeah. And if you gain something from it because you enjoy it, that doesn't mean that you're fake or that it's not legitimate.
Well, no, I'm not saying that you're fake in a bad way. I'm just saying your celebrity person is an alter ego, and it's not necessarily you when you're by yourself.
Well, see,
Uh,
and I think that's most of them.
Well, yeah, you do things to make money, right? Like you have a publicist saying, "Hey, we got to do this. We got to set your trend. You got to do, you got to be the bad boy. Maybe get a couple tattoos."
Yeah,
it's like Katy Perry. She started out like with the whole churchy kind of vibe, and then she kissed a girl, and then she turns into like this whole fucking Illuminati doing like, I mean, the whole cannibal video.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, she's just over the top.
Yeah, and I can understand that to some extent. Like with Taylor Swift, what bothers me is there's no way you're that nice. There's no way you're that nice. Like this,
No.
it's fake,
Yeah.
and that's what I think is fake.
If
Like,
you were
she's not
if you were
nice.
as good as a person as you perceive to be, you wouldn't go through guys that much.
But I think the people that we see as genuine are the people that you see struggle, admit their struggle. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain people that I look at and I'm like, I believe that they're the way that they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they talk about their faults and they talk about, you know, and they're not perfect. And
Yeah.
it's the pop star, the quote unquote pop star that I'm, but you look at like Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie definitely lives the
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
horror
There
story,
are,
like that kind of
yeah.
vibe. Manson, like, and a lot of rock bands, I think probably do. And some, like some of the big guys, it's like, yeah, you know, you're wearing shit. And it's like, I don't know if you're really, you know, are you really like that? I'm not sure if you are, you know what I mean? I don't know, man, but I don't want to like rap to me. That part that you brought up, Greg, like I don't think it was bad. I thought that Fuck the Police was fine. I know that sounds weird, but like you have to look at it in perspective of then, not now. Okay. And so
No, I think that natural movements are infiltrated, just like January 6th, just like fucking everything else, right?
Yeah.
I think that music and Hollywood is no different. I think that like when you have a natural movement that is swelling and then it's gaining popularity, and then the intelligence agencies notice this and they go, whoa, we can't have them take over control of the messaging that we want to corral this society. Like, we need to kind of nip this in the bud and direct it. You know what I mean?
but let me ask
So
you,
that's what I think.
if that's what you think though. So like give me an example of like, maybe you don't have one, but I'm just asking if you do. Like in hip hop or rap, right? When did that start? Like at what? Because like hip hop has been around for a minute. You know what I'm saying? There was some Cool in the Gang. There, you had some early age shit. Then you got NWA, and then you start getting the West Coast, East Coast, and then you start getting the crunk fucking shit. And then you start, you know, you get all these phases. When do you think it became infiltrated?
Like the rap game?
Yeah.
I would say probably like when gangster hip hop came out, like gangster rap, you know? And like, I'm not the foremost expert on this. I've listened to like Isaac Weishaupt, who's done like Sacrifice Behind the Mic, where that's a book that he wrote, where like he'll basically go into in depth on kind of, you see these trends in hip hop where it's becoming more violent. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing like with heavy metal, where they're like, oh, well, heavy metal is the cause of all these school shootings and like these video games, and like they're trying to pin these sections for like these societal woes. And it's like, well, no, it's really just us as a culture, and something's happening here in the home, you know? And like where it all just kind of goes down to like breaking families apart and whatnot. But
yeah, because I've never bought into like the whole musicians are the reason for something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's not
but
what
it
you're
definitely, yeah, but like the messaging in music does influence people. And that is, I think, something that is controllable, and I think that is infiltrated. I think, honestly, like when you look at the Beatles, even going back to the Beatles, I think that they were infiltrated in the whole hippie movement. The Grateful Dead in bringing in LSD. I think that Courtney Love infiltrated Nirvana, the whole fucking 90s grunge movement. I think like she was responsible for pushing drugs throughout the whole fucking community. Dude, there's like a lot of different examples where you can look at these players. It doesn't even take like that big of a person. Like, who was John Lennon's wife? Ocho was.
Oh no,
I don't want to say
Ocho
Ocho
Ono?
Cinco.
Oh no,
Ocho Cinco.
Ocho Cinco is the freaking football player. But like Ocho Ono, whatever the fuck her name was, like she was horrible at singing. Like
she's terrible.
She came in, the band totally changed, totally went hippie.
Yeah.
John Lennon went his own way, and then all of a sudden he has like this assassination attempt on his life. So it's like all this different things, like where I'm like,
I know you're not saying that it's like that's real or that's not real. I don't think that you, at least from hearing you, I don't think that you're convinced that it's that or the opposite.
I think that it's strange. I think there's a trend on movements that are natural, and that like we want them to grow. And I think that they're infiltrated by bad actors that make it go into a different way that it would have naturally went if we would have just let it grow.
Maybe, for sure. But like, I also think that like when we start getting past the decades, you know what I'm saying? We move on, we start looking back more at things that were 10 years ago or 20 years ago or greater.
Yoko Ono.
Yeah. Okay. Yoko Ono. You start to like forget the thing. Like there are natural movements, right? Like the hippie stage that came out of the war, and you had people that were against the war, and they, you had this hippie movement and the van movement and all these things transpired.
But even that, dude, like I really wonder how much of our culture is homegrown versus seeded.
Yeah, but that's that's tough, man. Because I'm
with
tough.
I'm with you. Because like honestly, I don't know.
I'm with you to an extent. I can understand the argument, but the problem is anytime you do that, and even just saying like all music's infiltrated, not saying that you said all is, but I'm saying if you say that so-and-so has been infiltrated and the rap game's been infiltrated, all, and all this stuff happened, it does take away from the fact that like those things can happen naturally, and there's reasons for it to happen naturally. Now, here's the thing, like for rap, for an example, why I said about the fuck the police songs and all that shit. Like, why am I not as offended by it? Do I think it's right? No. Do I agree with it? Absolutely not, dude. I love the police when they're good. You know what I'm saying? When they're constitutional shit. But back the blue when they back you. Well, when they're doing what they're supposed to. Sam Tripoli. Yes. But my point is at the time we were dealing with, they were dealing with certain things in these cities. We know the poverty, we know the situations, we know the government wasn't helping all that much with aspects. And it's no different than a book or a podcast nowadays. Like they were expressing their feelings of what they were seeing. Were they right? Not necessarily. Were they wrong? Not necessarily. Like, but that was their poetry, right? That was their writing of like their daily life. And I'm not going to take that away. You know what I'm saying? Like, do I agree with it? Not necessarily. But if they thought that and they wrote about that, that's why Tupac was so popular, right? Because it was poetic in most aspects. Like he was able to say things and have it mean something to people. That wasn't just like fuck the police coming straight. There was actually like thought behind it, and it was this really. So I don't like the idea of like taking that shit away, because that's like significant shit of that time. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at with. I don't know if that was infiltrated or if that was just like that's the mentality that they had in the early '90s, late '80s, right? With you can see why they would do that though, right? Like why you would infiltrate the police to go after black people, right? Purposefully go after black families. Like infiltrate black families with drugs, corrupt black men, imprison them. You have the whole prison population, the whole like private prisons making money. Sure, man. You're separating the families. You're making it like this whole like generational type of problem. And then you start like this music genre where it's like, yeah, fuck these guys. They fucked my life. Let's all band together, right? And then it forces like this black white. It goes into like the racial tensions. I just like if you listen to Tupac, and not just Tupac, but he was a significant one. If you listen to his music, and you even saw it in that video, and that transpires into his music, he always talked about the appreciation of women, his mother, like having a mother. Like there was nothing of like, man, fuck your family, man. It's just you. Like some people did. But I'm saying Tupac, arguably one of the biggest rappers of the time, right? Arguably one of the best ever. I mean, that's in the argument, right? Like, listen to his shit, okay? Like, he talked about street life. He talked about families breaking up. He talked about, like, respecting your mom, like, not hitting women, like, all that shit. Like, that wasn't the shit you're talking about. Why do you think he was killed? Dude, I'm just saying, like, he and Biggie were going to leave and do their own thing. Like there was word that they were going to leave their record companies and join and do their own thing. I don't know if that's true. But like the record companies were like, dude, fuck this. Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, dude. I just like all the shit I've watched, I don't know that that's true. Personally, they definitely were acquaintances throughout most of their shit. They did have feuds. You could argue that some of those feuds were probably like for sales. People do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they create feuds to garner sales. That's possible, but I don't recall ever hearing about them joining forces. Like that's never even been a thing in any of the documentaries and any of the police things that have come out since then, any of the people talking about it on podcasts, other rappers at the time.
Either, if not joining forces, leaving the major rap company, like leaving the record label and doing their own thing. And I'm just saying, even that alone, you would have a separation of power from, what was it, Bad Boy Records?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
No,
was
that
it
was
Suge
Bad
Knight?
Boy Records was
that
notorious.
was P. Diddy's.
Death
It was
Row
Bad Boy
Records was Suge Knight and that industry, that establishment.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're having like...
But they joined that shit like late in the game. Like that wasn't their all-time record. You know what I'm saying? Like NWA wasn't on fucking Death Row. You know what I'm saying? Like Tupac came into Death Row later in the game. You know what I'm saying? Snoop Dogg left Death Row and he ended up joining Masterpiece fucking record label, whatever that was at the time. Like that wasn't uncommon, man. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it wasn't uncommon for people to leave records.
But to start their own though, like, because Tupac had a lot of power in the game, so did Biggie. You were saying like they're two of the biggest, best rappers ever.
Sure.
So if Tupac started his own label, you can't have that, dude. That's competing with power. That's separating the power. You can't have it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There was plenty of labels. There's plenty of people on those labels.
Not that big.
That's
back then, not that big.
Yeah, but you're acting like only that person matters, and that's not the case. Tupac was not the only significant person at the time. Notorious was not the only significant person at the time. Like there were huge artists that were under them. Nas, like you name it. Like there were people that were maybe not quite as big as Tupac, but were massive, and they were all on Sony and fucking Capitol. Like there was massive amounts of fucking records at that time, record labels. And like they all had something different. Like obviously Death Row and fucking Bad Boy Records were the ones that you heard about because of the West Coast, East Coast shit. You know what I'm saying? But like even Ice Cube, I don't believe was on fucking Death Row Records, and he was a West Coast guy. I don't believe he was on Death Row Records. He had his own shit. Like that's crazy. Ice Cube was fucking huge. No, Ice Cube left NWA and did his own thing. Dr. Dre ended up leaving his own shit. You know what I'm saying? He started fucking his own thing with Interscope or whatever the fuck it, whatever it was. I can't remember what Dr. Dre's was at the time. But my point is you had massive artists who were doing this shit. Like that to me is just, I don't believe it at all. If you want
either that or Tupac faked his own death and he's in Jurassic 5.
That's possible. You know what I think sounds more logical? If you wanted, so you had two groups, West Coast, East Coast. They were feuding beyond belief, right? Things were getting out of control. You know what I'm saying? Because that was huge. Everybody was feuding at the award shows. They were talking about, man, fucking, they were on stage, like going against you. I'm going to kill this person. I'm going to kill that person. Like, doesn't it sound like it could be possible that like somebody thought that by taking the heads off the two fucking, taking the heads off the snakes, that it could resolve the whole situation? Like it's getting too radical. It's getting too violent. The gangs are becoming too prevalent. The West Coast, East Coast is becoming too much of a rivalry. If we chop the heads off, if we chop off Tupac, we chop off the biggest on the East Coast, Biggie, then now you're left with just a bunch of bodies. You know what I'm saying? And that died. Think about it. Both of them died, and the fucking East Coast, West Coast died. It became I
don't know that much about it.
So it did. So that shit died off quick, man. You didn't hear about the West Coast, East Coast shit. Everybody was coming together. They were like, hey, man, like, and you remember when Biggie died? I think because he died after Pac, right? I think. But the moms came on stage at the award show and they were hugging each other. His mom, Biggie's mom, they were hugging each other. You had different saying, man, we need to work together. Like we can't be having our, people dying like this. And it was this big coalition. And then all of a sudden you had, Dre was doing his thing and he got Eminem later on. And then you had, you started developing into the, the crunk early 2000s era. I'm just saying it seems logical. There you go. But it just seems logical to me that like, the government or somebody came out and said like, hey, we can't have this gang violence storm in the country. If we take these two out, we could save millions of lives. You know what I'm saying? And those two, think about it.
I don't think they've saved anybody's life.
I don't think so either. I know that sounds weird. I know it sounds weird.
I think it would be more like we need to take one of these guys out because they're taking our power.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, because Puff Daddy, dude, have you ever, there's like, I forget his name. It's like a weird fucking name. But the person that Puff Daddy paid to like kill Tupac, and then he just never paid him. Remember, it was like that thing where he's like, yeah, Puff Daddy and him had this conversation where Diddy said that he would like give this guy, like, I don't know, let's just say $1 million to go kill Tupac. he goes and kills Tupac, and then Diddy just never pays him. He's like, dude, I don't even know who you are. Like, what are you talking about? Who are you?
Yeah.
That type of thing. You know,
Could
so
be.
it's like there's a lot of evidence there that suggests it. And there was like articles coming out like a couple years ago about this, like, oh, Tupac's murder finally solved and all this shit, you know?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
because
yeah.
some guy came out and said that it was so and so that did it. I can't remember the dude's name, but there was multiple people that said it was actually this guy, and I don't even know who that was. He was affiliated with others, you know. And you're right. I want to be clear. You're right. The government's not going to want to save lives. However, what if it was the opposite of what you're saying? What if the whole gangster rap was uninfiltratable? Like they were so rogue. They hated the government. They hated cops
Like
so
they were
much.
a mob.
They
like
couldn't control them. They couldn't get their, give them money to have them control the people. So if you lop the heads off of that situation, now you bring in this era of puff daddies. You know what I'm saying?
Controllable assets.
Controllable assets.
So here it is. Dwayne Davis, Keefe D.
Keefe D.
Keefe D. That's
Keefe
his name.
D.
Or is
Yeah,
that,
he was
that's
the
his,
murder suspect for Tupac Shakur. He claims that Sean Diddy Combs and Suge Knight were involved.
Yeah.
Keefe D.
And Suge Knight's an easy target. I gotta be real. I mean, that's an easy target. It could have been, sure, absolutely, but I'm just saying it's pretty easy because the guy was like a thug. You know what I mean? Like he got in a lot of trouble, and it's easy to just say, yeah, it's Suge Knight, and everybody's like, yeah, probably was Suge Knight. He's a pretty bad guy. Was it? I don't know. Government? Who knows? It's interesting though. I'm just saying, like, I don't like taking away from the fact that like even these people now, like, it's watered down. New music's very watered down. Like the country music's fake. The fucking driving me in my truck on the way. Fuck you, dude. You know what I mean? Like you're not really doing that. You know what I mean? Taylor Swift's
most
not
of those
real.
guys are living in LA.
But there's also a resurgence of people who seemingly are more genuine and are making more like music that you're like, okay, this has a story to it. It sounds not like a generic fucking thing. And so there's that research. People want that. I think they're over the fucking molded up shit. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of ways, but doesn't mean they're good people either. To that point. But that's pop music, man. It's always
Dude,
been that way.
I don't know. I'm really curious to know what the government's involvement with infiltrating like pop culture is, because I know it's a fucking thing, dude. I know it's a thing.
I guess what I'm arguing is that like I don't know that all music is the same. Pop culture to me is the easiest. It targets the right audience. It's the bubble gum. It's the fucking marketable shit. It's the stuff you hear on Coke commercials. It's the stuff you see on fucking the radio. It's the stuff that's on, and kids like it. You know what I'm saying? So like when you talk about Olivia Rodrigo, you talk about Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, Beyonce. Yeah. When you're talking about that shit, like they're not going to go to Slipknot. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, Slipknot's a big ass band, but I'm just saying they're not nearly as marketable. Like you don't see them.
You know what I think?
What's up?
I think Taylor Swift is the Diddy of pop culture.
Oh,
all right. So you got
Epstein, everybody.
Yeah, so Epstein is the politicians. Diddy is the rap game.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift is pop culture.
Yeah,
okay?
Dude. Since she can't butt fuck, she got Kelsey to do it for her.
Who's country music though? Or is country music safe?
Morgan Wallen.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
Morgan's too
No,
radical.
it'd have to be someone that's been around for a while.
Garth Brooks.
Brooks.
It's his dark side. It's Chris Gaines, dude.
Dude, he's the redheaded stepchild. They said, how do you fuck this up, Garth? You were the biggest.
Yeah.
And then you came out and you did your shit and you fucked it. Now nobody likes you and you botched it. He actually botched it. All the rest were successful and he botched it. Like, who's Chris Gaines? Okay.
No, if I honestly,
work. I'm telling you. It'll work, dude.
Of the country of if I had to like guess somebody, it would be Miley Cyrus's dad.
Oh,
Billy
Ray Cyrus.
Man,
he's controlling the whole country. That whole.
I do want to shout out Garth Brooks though, real quick. I got to give him a shout because he gets a lot of hate and he deserves a lot of it. He does have some great songs, by the way, but he might be the first emo. If you really think about it, if you look at Chris Gaines' album, he may be the first.
Pull it up, Chris. Just pull it up real quick before we get out of here. Chris Gaines. Yeah, he has the one eye. Oh, he has the one-eyed symbolism too.
Well, there is that, but I'm talking about the hair. You know what I'm saying? Like that scene, the fucking scene, the Warped Tour scene. Look at that.
Oh my God.
You take away the chin strap, that man could have been in fucking Falling in Reverse. You know what I'm saying? He could have been
that. That's fucking Zoolander, is it not?
It is.
It is Zoolander.
Yeah,
that is completely Zoolander. Like, Zoolander got their idea from Chris Gaines.
What a weird fucking face. I'm just serious. What a weird face, dude.
Oh my God.
And that's legit. He
Yeah.
came out and said that was him, right?
That looks like somebody listening to Nickelback right there. You know what I'm saying? Never
Whose
made
idea
it
was
as a
that?
wise man.
I don't know.
That was probably just him. Just like I'm gonna venture off. He thought he was so big that he could just do anything. You know what I'm saying? And
I'm gonna have an alter ego named
Yeah,
Chris
man.
Gaines and just fucking.
But dude, he was kind of like he started the because what year was that? What year did that album come out? You got to tell me. The life of what year did this shit come out?
Life of Chris Gaines.
Chris Gaines is a character created by
Because I would
Garth
argue
Brooks.
not only was
1999, dude.
Shit, bro. He
The
might
life
be
of Chris Gaines.
like he was kind of riding that 99
Yeah.
rock era shit.
Released
dude.
September 28th of 1999.
He was like a member of 3 Days Grace before 3 Days Grace. You know what I'm saying? Like he has that he has that like rock emo kind of fucking look.
Pop rock and alternative rock was the genre.
Man, dude.
Wow. I've never even heard a Chris Gaines song, but I'm interested now.
I remember my mom was dating this guy and he was really into country and he had this album and then I was like, who the fuck is this? And he's like, it's Garth Brooks. And I'm like, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, that's blasphemy right there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Garth Brooks has amazing songs, man. Don't get me wrong. There's some shit. Like he's a gifted songwriter, but that's a weird motherfucker, dude. And maybe you have to be. I mean, if you look at the greatest artists in the world that we've ever seen, they are troubled and weird. And that is what it is. You know how Joe Rogan always talks about comedians? The best comedians are the ones that have the most traumatic fucking lives.
Fucked up.
Yep. And like, look at Jackson. Look at Elvis. Like they had some crazy.
Johnny Cash.
Yeah, look at
fucking.
I mean, just name it, bro. Ozzy, Manson. Like they're all fucked up and weird. Like doing crazy shit, drugs and fucking. And that's why when you look at the Beatles and shit, and you brought that up, I don't know, man. Like they're fucking weird. They just they were a band that transcended decades, and they started off in that bubblegum pop 50s shit, you know, or early 60s. And
I bet they got some skeletons in the closet.
Well, Paul McCartney died in a car crash, and his clone took over.
Paul
Flex
McCartney
convinced me of that. Yeah, Paul McCartney's fucking dead, dude. His clone is in the band.
Yeah. I mean,
fucking weird, dude. You got to look that shit up. That is a whole trip.
I'll
right
pass.
there.
You know, it's you know, because it's irrelevant to me. You know, like what did he do to my life? Nothing. I actually don't like the Beatles. I'll be honest. I
like a couple of the songs.
I never got it. I don't fucking get it. I've never understood it. I'm like, okay.
Well, you didn't grow up then.
Doesn't matter. I grew up with old music. My dad, I was showcased that shit my whole fucking life, and I respect a lot. And I'm not saying that they have all their songs, but they have some good songs for sure. I'd never understood the insane. I get Elvis. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, yeah, he had the moves, he had the looks, he had this new like this rock and roll shit, and it was. I
think it's because it was unlike anything at that time to come out. You know what I mean? And like it was like this new like because electric guitars were really tamed. You know, like they had the tremolo.
Yeah.
It was all like surfer boys. You know, like I don't know.
I don't know.
They kind of reminded me of like. If Weezer was from the 60s.
I was going to say the Beatles reminded me of the Green Day of the 60s because they have like 3 chords in all their songs. They're all fucking catchy but they're just good at making hits, dude.
Yeah, yeah. But like they came after Elvis. Like Elvis was doing like jailhouse rock and shit. He had fucking electric guitars. Like I mean that whole
but
like
they didn't have the British accent.
It's a different genre.
But look at them. I don't even think they're handsome. I got to be honest with you. I'm not saying I'm a catch. But
No,
I'm just
they're
saying like
fugly dudes.
People were fainting over them. Like what?
No, they're fugly dudes.
It's like,
dude,
that's a lot of Jay Leno's, man. There's a lot of Jay Leno's in there. You know what I'm saying? A lot of chin. There's a lot of chin going on.
Especially that one.
Well, that one's that's a little crunched up. This looks like does this not look like the Jets, you know, or like the fucking Hives? You know what I mean? Like
well, all the fucking UK bands
British.
look the same.
Yeah, I know. They kind of you know, but Pink Floyd came out of the fucking England, you know, they didn't look like that shit. I don't know, man. I don't know, dude.
Right, dudes.
Yeah, that's
hey. Let's call it a day.
Yeah, man.
You know what? P. Diddy's going down.
He's going
down.
We'll
see
dude.
what the list.
I sent it to my wife, the headline, and when that guy came out, and she's like, "Oh, shit's gonna go down." And I agree. I think this one's gonna be pretty big.
It's gonna be big, but I'm gonna tell you,
Gonna be
this
big.
I think is a blessing for Diddy. I think he's gonna love it. He's gonna have free anal sex the rest of his life, and I think he's gonna fucking thoroughly enjoy it.
I think Diddy is gonna sing like a bird.
He's like, wait, I get meals and fuck daily? Absolutely, give me that soap.
I think he's gonna get a plea deal and he's gonna rat on everyone.
I don't know, maybe
I think he's gonna end up dead.
I think he'll end up being a bitch like that.
he might. Be
I think
dead.
he's gonna Epstein himself.
You think so? We'll see.
Yep.
Thank you,
Death by anal
everybody.
Penetration.
Right, brothers.
We'll see you guys later.
Peace.
Bye.